Hello, students. It's me again, Mr. Armstrong, with another lesson in grammar. Mr. Armstrong teaches noun determiners, also known as limiting adjectives. Essentially, these are words that come in front of nouns. Yep, it's just that easy. Let's take a look. We've got some notes to take. Here we go! Okay, so here are some of the basics. Noun determiners, or limiting adjectives, introduce nouns, or they come in front of nouns. They are not descriptive. So while a lot of adjectives describe nouns, these just kind of introduce them. They will also, of course, then come in front of descriptive adjectives. So a lot of times nouns have descriptive adjectives describing them, and limiting adjectives, or noun determiners, will come in front of those descriptive adjectives as well. And then finally, the last thing about these noun determiners is that sometimes the words that can be noun determiners can also stand alone and behave essentially as pronouns. They can substitute for nouns. We'll take a look at a few examples of that. Did you get all those notes down? Do it! There's some more notes. Write these things down too. These are the different types of noun determiners or limiting adjectives. There's 6 different types, and some of them you're already familiar with. Maybe you just didn't think of them in terms of always coming in front of nouns, but that's what they do. They determine that a noun is coming. The first one is articles, a, an, and the. These words are always in front of nouns. They're considered noun determiners or limiting adjectives. They don't describe, but you never see those words unless they're in front of some noun. The next one is demonstratives. Demonstratives are the 4 words this, that, these, and those. You'll notice a couple of asterisks after the word demonstratives. I'll explain that in a little bit. But demonstratives are the 4 words this, that, these, those. Numbers come next. Numbers often come in front of nouns. 3 cows, 14 donkeys, for example. Those are some farm numbers for you. Sometimes, of course, these can stand alone as well, which is once again why those asterisks are there. Next, possessive nouns. You recently watched a video lesson of this, perhaps, in the Mr. Armstrong Teaches channel. Possessive nouns are nouns that we've added an apostrophe S to, usually, and they often also come in front of nouns. It's the dog's toy. It's Bob's car. But sometimes, once again, these can stand alone and behave as a kind of a pronoun. We'll look at an example of that later. Next, we have possessive pronouns. My, his, her, your, its, our, their, whose. These are pronouns that show possession of something else. And so that something else would be the noun that is being determined. And then finally, we have a type of word called indefinites. And an indefinite is a word that is kind of vague. It's not very specific as to how many of a thing there are. Some examples are some, few, many, several, no, any. There are more, but these are some common basic ones that we might see. Sometimes, once again, these can also stand alone. They can behave as pronouns. Now, I am not going to show you examples of all of these different types of things. Mostly what I would like to show you examples of in this video is how sometimes these words can be noun determiners, and sometimes they can stand all by themselves and be pronouns. Did you get all those notes down? If you did, you don't have to pause it right now because we're moving on. I'm just going to throw up all of these examples at once. There's one from each of the different categories, though, that were asterisked in the notes you just took. You could say, in this first example, I like this hat. This is behaving as a noun determiner in front of the noun hat, pointing to the word hat. This what? This hat. But in the second example, I like this. This what? We don't know. The word this is behaving as a pronoun standing in place of something. Perhaps the hat, if it was the same context as that first sentence, but it's basically a pronoun taking the place of a noun. That's how it's acting. That's how it's behaving. In the second example, you could say, we have 2. 2 what? We don't know. 2 is actually behaving as a pronoun, taking the place of whatever those things are. But if we look in the second sentence, we have 2 dogs. 2 is behaving as a noun determiner or a limiting adjective pointing to the noun dogs. It's modifying, in other words, the noun dogs. You could say they went to Bob's house, and Bob's is a limiting adjective modifying house. Or you could just say they went to Bob's. And in that instance, we kind of have a possessive noun behaving as a pronoun. Bob's is taking the place of house. And then finally, in the indefinite category, you could say she already had some. And then some is behaving as a pronoun, taking the place of what nouns we do not know. But it could also come in front of a noun, that word some. She already had some candy. And now it's not a pronoun anymore. It's a limiting adjective or a noun determiner modifying the noun candy. Got it? Did you write all these examples down? They're probably going to be useful to you later. Okay. Well, that's all there is. This has been noun determiners and limiting adjectives. Once again, these are words that precede or come in front of nouns. They introduce nouns. This was a lot of information. The best way to begin to master this, though, of course, is to practice. If you have any questions about any of this information, you can post them in the comments below or ask me in class. We'll be getting some practice in class as well, which will help to solidify this information. But mostly, this is just an introduction to the concept of noun determiners, a.k.a. limiting adjectives. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. I'll teach you again very soon.